It's an absolute pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
I love the character of Barbossa because he's so complicated. In your opinion, do you think that he thinks he's a decent human being?
Oh, yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah. Look, I've always based, the adjectives I look for in the beginning were, his vanity, his narcissism, and his self-delusion. Because he thinks he is the most important, significant pirate in the history of the world.
I think he might be. What does Barbossa really think of Jack Sparrow?
I don't know. Look, I think there's glimmers underneath of a kind of mutual respect. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But they're interesting. Johnny and I spoke about this before we shot the first film, and we talked about it again on this one. And when I watch him as Jack, I realize he hasn't used any of the stereotypes that we might associate with what a pirate should be. It's highly original, very idiosyncratic choices that he made. And it was based on, the land legs and the sea legs and never getting them the right way round.
Sure.
And the fact that, his body water is 80% rum and you spend a lot of time in the sun. But then you go, but yeah, you're so smart. And he just spins a compass. He's an existential hero. He says, I'll go there. And Barbossa's control freak. So there's a nice yin and yang.
Sure.
They need each other.
Absolutely. I think of all the major pirates, you're the only one, if I saw right, with the peg leg.
No, that was a very important part in the fourth chapter, that I cut my own leg off rather than be defeated, because I had to get off the Queen Anne's Revenge, which was strangling me.
Sure.
And I tell the story about, I took my own leg off. But it's great, because then later in the film, he unscrews the leg and he keeps a little stash of rum in there.
As you do.
That was my idea.
Oh, it was a good one. One of my favorite things in the film were the names of the ships. And if you had your own ship, what would you name it?
Yes. If I was the captain,
absolutely.
Oh, I'd call it the Adrenaline Rush.
Oh, good one. And then one of my favorite characters is Uncle Jack, Mr. Sir Paul McCartney.
Oh yeah, no, well that's hilarious because Johnny had always referenced way back. He always he went off on an imaginative springboard in the first film and said, we were talking, and he said, the pirate I'd like to be is like someone from the Rolling Stones, Keith Richards, because that's a contemporary way of just imagining into it rather than looking at old pirate movies or reading Treasure Island or something like that. And as a result of that, I think he talked Jerry Bruckheimer into putting Keith into the second and third films, and he said, he can play my father. And the idea that you suddenly realize that Jack has family, and you go, is that where he came from? And Keith wasn't available on this shoot, so they said, well, why don't we get Paul McCartney? And I love that scene. He's just in passing in prison, and it's like, oh, Uncle Jack, so now he's got uncles and stuff like that. And Paul's character is hilarious. It's a bit like the Goon Show. I don't know if you're familiar with that on British radio, but he's I would describe Uncle Jack as mad as a cut snake.
He's a good one.
He's insane. Everything he says is a complete non sequitur.
Yeah.
No wonder he's locked up.
Absolute pleasure meeting you.
And he sings.
Of course.
Which is great.